It's crazy. Okie doke. So moving on then. Now again, like I say, I haven't been watching this, but you are quite happy to talk. I shall read a magazine. No, the review of Picard. Now, so we are now what episode? Is it 6 or 7 in this?
7.
7. Okay.
7.
And you found the episodes have been hit and miss. Is that right?
No, my reviews have been fairly positive. I would say all of mine have been fairly positive up until this episode.
Okay.
Now, look. Yeah, I listened to these people. Here's a. I'm going to read one of the chats here, or one of the discuss. People went nuts on this.
Discuss.
Okay. The hold steady. He quoted my review where I said, in a nutshell, Vadic is pissed because she was captured by the Federation, where they poked, prodded, and basically tortured her to turn her into a weapon. I know Section 31 was a bit shady, but this went way over the line for me. The Federation, even at its worst, only did what was absolutely necessary. I think back on when Sisko brought the Romulans into the Dominion War, killing a Romulan to do it. So he says, so the good guys are the bad guys yet again. All your people who are saying or fell for, the show's gotten better, try it, deserve this. How many times are you going to turn over your hard-earned money to woke corporations just to watch your favorite characters get ass raped for the cause? It's like, wow. I don't think...
We're about here, and suddenly...
Dial it back. Take it down to 9. Would you please? You got it at 11. Look, first of all, I don't think it went woke. I questioned some of the ways, saying that the Dominion, that factions of the shapeshifters in the Dominion were pretty pissed after the Dominion War, especially since they sicked a virus on them, is not a bad story technique. They didn't have to take it to where this woman is torturing to a prisoner. I mean, I don't know why the Federation would have kept these prisoners. They usually didn't. And they were usually very kind to prisoners. And then there was the technical nonsense. Like, they showed her flashbacking, and it's like a late 19th century or early 20th century sanatorium where you have like squeaky gurneys on wheels and syringes and knives. I'm like, what? They have floating things now. Nobody has a gurney in Star Trek. What are you doing here? Everything floated. And then they had everything uses lasers and lights. And it was that's one of the things I loved about Star Trek. It's like, oh, I never have to get a shot anymore. It's all, hypo sprays and lasers and techno bullshit that, it was all very non-invasive. You didn't have to cut people up like you do now. That was cool to me. So that kind of stuff, that was a choice that I went, wait a minute, you've gone too far. You're making the Federation look like real garbage here. I mean, beyond what these moral quandaries that the Federation put themselves in. Yes, Gene Roddenberry had said humanity had gotten all past this and we were perfectly moral and spiritual and all that. I think that wasn't realistic. We can't have these good stories if we don't have moral quandaries set up. But to go back to like 19th century torture sanatorium type shit, I'm like, wait, whoa. I got irritated with that. And then there was a lot of technical nonsense, just execution nonsense, because they're fighting these changelings as they're boarding the ship. And there's one shot where it was like, and Dave Cullen showed this as well, and I had noticed it. It's like the dude is right behind her, like it's a full on shot. She's running towards the camera. The guy couldn't be more than 3 feet behind her. All he has to do is go, and he doesn't do it. It's like, I get it to a certain extent. It's a bottle show, and you're keeping everybody on the same set. You're trying to save money, but and as far as motivations go, it's not the worst, But for him to reel it all the way back to say, you just got ass raped, everything's terrible, it's all shit. Guys, stop lionizing the next gen. I love the Next Generation. I love the original Star Trek. The original Star Trek had Spock's brain. The original Star Trek had space hippies. The original Star Trek had the weird thing with the Kirk switching bodies with a woman, and they had some nonsense. Season 1 of Next Generation is goddamn near unwatchable. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 episodes that are possibly halfway decent, and it is really painful to watch season 1 of Next Generation. Just because we had a bad episode here doesn't mean it's gone completely woke. And we just had the conversation. I said Alex Kurtzman is going to fuck over. He's going to have a woke series in Starfleet Academy, because I blame Kurtzman. I don't blame Metalis. And Metalis has done a very good job. I just questioned his choices in this one episode, and I gave it 2.5. I didn't give it a 1. I didn't give it the kind of ratings that you and I have given when it's really woke nonsense, right? I felt like it could have been better, but it wasn't the worst. I'm still watching. I still like it. It was actually a little bit better the second time around once I got over some of this shit. But yeah, I have some problems with it. That doesn't mean the whole show went woke and I'm getting ass raped. Give me a break.
We've lost a woman, which is gutting.
And that fact that she hung on this long is shocking.
Yeah, there is obviously something wrong with her. So, yeah, again, I kind of do want to watch it and give it a go, but I am going to binge it at the end of it. So I've kind of stayed away from quite a few of the spoilers and stuff. But it's just one of these things. It's dragging out. I've stopped following Doomcock on Twitter because, I mean, the man he's so full of hate. And even if something is good, he's kind of, I understand where he's coming from. That's saying that if you like this now, then you are kind of like selling out and everything else. But it's just, there's so much hate and spite with it. I just can't put up with it anymore. And it's kind of a shame.
I look, until these properties get sold off to somebody else, which is not going to happen. Star Wars, Star Trek. Paramount's not going to sell off Star Trek. Not going to happen. So the only thing we can do is we have to be at least somewhat objective in our subjectivity, I suppose. I've laid down a baseline of what I think is good for Star Trek, and then I try to rate the show based on what I think is good for Star Trek. There's other people that might think things are different for Star Trek. But if you're just going to go into it every time saying, well, corporation, fuck them, it's like, okay, that anything they do, it won't matter. And if it's good or if it's bad, it won't matter. You're still going to have the same problems. How do I get the corporation? How do I aim the corporation at better stuff? Well, then support the good stuff and don't support the bad stuff. But if you're just going to go in with a mindset, a closed mind, quite frankly, that says everything is crap because this corporation did it or these woke assholes did it, okay. Well, then how are you different than the woke assholes who believe that every white man is bad because he's born wrong? I mean, I don't know how to fix this if we're not going to rate each thing on its own merits.
I try to. It's like we'll come on to Mando in a minute, but I try to go in with it with an open mind of thinking, I'm looking forward to this. You know, I'm hoping this is going to be good. And I mean, the majority of the time I come out of it quite gutted at the end of it. Like, I mean, with the Book of Boba Fett, I mean, that was so horrible to watch because I've loved Boba Fett my entire life. But at the same time, it's just kind of, I still have to give it hope that it might actually be okay. And kind of that's where they get you, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm just so yeah. I agree with you on Mandalorian. Picard, I think, has been very, very good. We just had a clunker episode for me. I've looked at some other reviews of the people that have really liked, the Critical Drinker, Dave Cullen, that kind of stuff, and there's been some difference of opinion on this episode. Some people, Matt really liked this episode. Stark really liked this episode. I had problems with it, but mostly my problems are based on where I think the Federation should be, and then dumb stuff like gurneys, squeaky wheel gurneys in that float, And Major Grin has been like with me on that, I think.
I was going to say with the squeaky gurneys, did anybody say we need 15 mils of Flayon solution stat?
Yeah, I mean, she's humming and she's using all these hypodermic needles that look like. I'm like, what? You don't need those tools anymore. They've established that, that little stuff. And that what bothers me so much is that they've done such a good job in kind of addressing this kind of stuff in the series, earlier in the series. Like there was one moment where it's like they're in the holodeck even though they have no power. And I thought, how could the holodeck be working? Because this was something they established back in Next Gen, where Geordi needed to use the holodeck to try to get out of a booby trap, even though the ship was losing power. It's a whole thing. And Picard actually mentions this. Yeah, they've decided to put the holodeck on its own separate power for now, specifically for situations like this, either because they know there's no hope and they could die someplace that would be a little bit nicer than their station, or to use it maybe if like what the Enterprise. It's like, okay, you know about it and you addressed it. I'm happy. That's fine.
It's the way you sort of said that they're close to death and then they've got to. So yeah, he died. We found him in the holodeck with his trousers down. Which is weird.
Worst ways to go. Worst ways to go. Thank you for watching this excerpt from Outpost Frequencies. Tune in live every Sunday at noon Central Time or 6 o'clock UK time. And also, remember to come to lastmovieoutpost.com for all your latest in movie news, streaming news, and everything cool about film. We are the cool news now. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next stream.